Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
March 12, 2020, the banks continue to behave badly edition. First up, from Bloomberg, Malaysia names a new anti-graft chief of the agency to lead the 1MDB probe. The Malaysian government changed, and now it's the party of the former prime minister who stole all the money from Malaysia under 1MDB has taken power. So I'm sure Goldman Sachs is very pleased about this. Nevertheless, Malaysia has appointed Azam Baki to lead the anti-graft agency after the previous chief stepped down. His appointment is going to be interesting to see if he will continue to aggressively prosecute companies involved in the 1MDB scandal and indeed try to get the stolen money back for his country, or he'll just be a lackey for the new government. So it's going to be interesting to see. Boeing, of course, continues to be in the news, this time in the Wall Street Journal and unfortunately around coronavirus, as it has added pressure from delays in getting the MAX recertified, and the company is moving to preserve cash during this period. Of course, airlines aren't going to be in much better shape to buy new jets, so it may be a very long road to hoe. Boeing has plans to soon draw down on the remainder of its $13.8 billion loan that is secured earlier this month. Obviously, these are challenges into what is to be estimated a $20 billion bill related to the freeze in 737 MAX production that Boeing has found itself in because of its missteps around the jet. So with the economy and the regulatory aspects, and of course the just disastrous public relations and toxic culture, one wonders how far down Boeing's going to have to fall before they really start to make their way back. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal Risk and Compliance Journal, SwedBank has notified the U.S. of potential sanctions violations. The bank notified the U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Asset Controls, or OFAC, of potential sanctions violations regarding 4.8 million of transactions following an internal probe. The law firm of Clifford Chance has been conducting an investigation at SwedBank since February 2019 and on activities on how the bank handled related internal and external disclosures. It also determined how SwedBank responded historically to identified AML and sanctions controls shortcomings. So yet again, another bank, this time behaving extraordinarily badly. It's going to be interesting to see what sort of relief they get with this self-disclosure. Perhaps SwedBank will do better than some of its competitors. Nevertheless, it shows once again the absolute paucity of AML controls that banks have continually refused to put in place and engaged in willful misconduct going forward. And then finally, very interestingly, from the StraitTimes, a former Wuhan official, a former senior official at the epicenter of the new coronavirus outbreak in China, has been charged with corruption. The Secretary General of the Communist Party of the Municipal Committee in Wuhan City was sacked in February and now has been charged with taking bribes and abuse of power. Provincial disciplinary officials said at the time at his removal he had taken advantage of his position, but now these very serious charges of bribery and corruption have appeared, and in the Chinese legal system these are taken very, very seriously, particularly against party members. And I'm sure coronavirus didn't help going forward. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening.